All right, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me switch over my camera real quick. Do that already. Here we go. Remember, you can always find demos of previous days kind of work on the Google Classroom. I try to keep that updated, and I try to keep try to keep that updated day to day. So try to update that with YouTube links with our demo that we did the previous day. All right, so you can see over here, there we go. This is our link from yesterday. We're going to do another one like that today. So if you're wondering what we did yesterday, or if you missed it, if you weren't here, you need just another rundown of what happened, you can go ahead and check that out. But otherwise, we're going to sneak all the way down here to our room that we've been drawing. Right, this is what we're working with. We also documented kind of where the walls are, where the floor is. Right, we put some orthogonal lines in there, and all these images are kind of what we have. So far in our image. This is kind of the first day. We've done a lot more since then, as you can see in our drawing. So So just to talk about what we're gonna work on today, this is gonna be a table day. So this guy right over here. We're going to kind of break it down into a series of boxes or thin rectangles and try to draw those rectangles on our drawing. So here we go. I'm going to use this one just because it's a little bit easier. There are some references that I want to point out. Maybe I'll flip back and forth. So we're going to start making this table the same way we usually do. We're going to start with two rectangles. So we're going to start with one on the bottom, this kind of squarish shape that's kind of facing us. And then we got this kind of long, thin tabletop that we're going to have to draw as well. So let's get going. All right. First, we have to figure out where we're going to put this table, where it's going to appear in our drawing. And the first thing I notice is that the table kind of looks like it's even with this, with the bottom, with the floor. So where the back wall meets the floor, there is this orange line right here. And it looks like the one side of our table is kind of even with that. So that's where I'm going to start drawing my rectangle. And it looks like maybe it's a little bit to the right of our vanishing point. So I'm going to move it over a little bit. And it's going to go down. So we're going to start drawing our rectangle right over the rug, which makes sense because you can't actually see the whole rug in our photograph. So as always, you can follow along with me right now, or you can wait until a little bit later to work on this on your own if you want to see the whole process first and then work on it. But I would highly recommend just working with me right now. So we're going to make our rectangle. We're going to start right here at the back wall, kind of over our rug. And we're going to make a couple of lines. That's a little too long. There we go. It's kind of almost exactly a square. So we're going to, over here, it looks like there's a little corner of the rug sticking out in the photograph. So I'm going to try to see if I can capture that as well. And yours might look a little bit different. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just trying to follow all the rules. Make sure that we're drawing in perspective correctly. So we're going to go across with just a little horizontal line to finish up our box. And there you go. So using this line at the top here, we've created a box that's going to function as the bottom of our table. But what we need to do now is erase everything that we don't need. So we know that this table is closer to us than the rug. We can see that in the photograph. So for that reason, because it's closer, we're going to go ahead and erase this part of this rug that we've drawn already. We don't want to erase it all, but we do want to erase everything that is inside of our rectangle. If that makes sense. You can do this now, you can do this later, but I find that it helps me concentrate and draw if I do my erasing as I go. Yeah, I'm fine. I got a little aggressive. Make sure we have that. We're going to be doing a lot of erasing today, so I would recommend drawing with kind of a light hand. You don't have to get super aggressive when you're drawing, because we are going to do a lot of erasing. So we know the next steps. That's going to be to connect the corners of our box to the vanishing point. Right? We can go all the way back with these lines to the vanishing point, but we don't have to because we know that our box doesn't go all the way back in space. Right? We know that it's going to end somewhere kind of in this area. We're going to figure that out here in just a second. Yeah, looking at it, I probably got a little aggressive with my box placement, but that's okay. My box is going to be sitting partially on the rug, and that's all right. All right, so here we go. We have a box. We have our lines going back to our vanishing point. Now we just have to decide where this box is going to end. And I'm going to put mine so it's kind of overlapping with the rug, just because I didn't plan super well, but that's okay. So we got a vertical line right here. And then we know that's just going from one orthogonal line to the other. And then we know that our front edge is horizontal, so we know our back edge is going to be horizontal as well. Just back that up so we get a nice crisp line. Boom. All right, now we're going to go in with the eraser. There are a lot of lines to erase here, so first and foremost, we got to get rid of these vanishing lines, these orthogonal lines. Got one over on there. And we're also going to erase whatever's on the inside of our rectangle, square, you know what I mean, our cube. All right, so we're going to erase that as well, just so we can kind of see the illusion of this box in perspective. Okay, and there we go. Already, it's kind of starting to look like a table. We do have to put another piece on top. We're going to do some erasing in order to do that. But first, I want to take a careful look at our room. And I noticed that there is a front edge and there is a back edge, but it looks like these are two different vertical pieces of wood. So we're going to try to show that as best we can right now, and it's actually pretty easy. So we're going to locate the back corner of our rectangle, and we're just going to draw a horizontal line coming straight in at that intersection. Sorry, I lost the word there for a second. So I'm going to put a little horizontal line just right there, and that's going to show us that makes it look a little bit more like the table that we have. So we are going to have to erase this bottom line. We needed to have it in order to figure out where that back table leg is going to go, but now we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to redraw a little bit of my rug, and now we can kind of see this is starting to take shape. It kind of looks like the table that we have, even though the table in the actual room is not sitting on the rug. Mine is. You can do whatever you want with yours. It's all good. All right. And, all right, first step is done. Now it looks like all we have to add is a tabletop. It's a little bit difficult to see, right? But if you kind of take a look, there's this larger kind of rectangle here, but that's okay because we're pretty good at drawing rectangles. So we're going to go ahead and draw that kind of flat rectangle in there as well. So we're going to come back to our tabletop. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to draw a rectangle, and then we're going to add orthogonal lines, and then we're going to figure out where that rectangle ends. So here we go. I'm going to turn mine just so it's, well, fine. I'll keep it straight. So I'm going to make a little rectangle here. Make mine a little bit thicker than what it is in the photograph. Okay. And we're just making a thin rectangle. Right, with vertical lines on either side. This is going to function as your tabletop. Looks like I went a little far. That's okay. All right, clean up this edge. And again, we can erase whatever is inside of this tabletop. So we don't lose track of what we're drawing. We got a flat, long rectangle just sitting right on top of the table. Perfect. Now we're going to continue to do what we always do. So connect these corners back to the vanishing point. It's going to be a little tight in there, it looks like. We got one more over here on the back. All right, all that's left to do is kind of figure out where this is going to end. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. I'm just going to say maybe about sorry, I'm thinking. Well, we'll just eyeball it and see how it goes. So I think theoretically, if you extended this horizontal line over to this far edge and then came straight up, you'd wind up about here. So we're going to guess that the edge of our table is going to be just a hair outside of or longer than our original table. So we're going to put a horizontal line about there, and then we're going to put a very, very short vertical line over here just to show where the edge of our table sits. And now we're going back in with, you guessed it, the eraser to erase some of these orthogonal lines. Don't need them. Get in there and get a little bit more delicate of an erase. We're also going to erase, a lot of what we did in here with the table, unfortunately. But we needed it to build this correctly, but now we're going to get rid of it, so all we can see is the tabletop. All right, so as you can see, we got our tabletop sitting right up here. It's like a coffee table situation. We got our front leg, we got our back leg. The side of our rug is kind of sticking out a little bit. All in all, pretty decent. The only, I think, difference that I see is that our table is not sitting on the actual naked floor. It's sitting a little bit on that rug. But otherwise, looks good to me. All right. So there we go. What kind of questions do we have about the table? How does it look to people?